Rick, you want to just confirm you're hearing me, or Tim, through you, or somebody?
He can hear you, Mayor. I see on the TV that we're on standby, and I'm sure Rick will let us know that.
Yes,
we hear you.
Thanks, Rick. Appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. This is a conference meeting of the Council of the Township of Montclair and is being broadcast live on TV 34 and is streaming live on TV 34 YouTube channel and is available on demand, can and will be rebroadcast. And now will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. In an effort to minimize exposure to COVID-19 and to maintain social distancing practices, this meeting of the Township Council and further meetings until the pandemic is over will only be available to the public remotely. Those who wish to participate now and during public comment should dial in to 408-418-9388. When asked to enter an access code, please enter 173-068-7934 and then press pound. When asked to enter an attendee number, please just press pound. When asked to state your name, please state your name and then press pound. The administrator will say the caller's number when it's turn to speak. Caller will hear two beeps. At that time, the caller will have an opportunity to make his or her comments heard. And with that, I am going to open it up to public comment. And Mr. Stafford, I'll turn it over to you to let us know what we have. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, real quick, we might want to do roll call first.
We might want to do that roll call, Mr. Deputy Mayor. So I got the message from Councilman Russo. He's got a lot of pre-election night stuff going on. So I'm on overdrive. It's a good idea to do the roll call. You might be right. Madam Clerk, would you do the roll call, please?
Can we answer in Russian?
Thank you. Councillor Cummings?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Herlock?
Present.
Councillor Price Abrams?
Present.
Councillor Russo?
Present.
Councillor Schlager?
Here.
Councillor Yacovelis?
Present.
Mayor Spiller?
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we will open it up to public comment. Mr. Stafford.
Thank you, Mayor. Caller with the number starting 973-820. You are the first to comment. 973-820. Please state your name for the record and do your best to keep your comments less than 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is Tony Martin with the Tenants Organization of Montclair. I'm feeling very patriotic tonight and very emotional about being active in my community. I want to ask a question about where we stand with our effort to have the rent control ordinance you adopted in April applied and made effective in real life. But first, I want to say that I'm weary of fighting this landlord group, and I am especially weary of the way they attack you all for being poor examples of government leaders. I've said this before, and I feel compelled on this election eve night to say again that these are people who represent their own interests. They are not, this is the Montclair Property Owners Association. It is led by a man, a public relations executive who does not live here. And many of those who are in the leadership of that organization, as best we can tell, because they don't tell us much, are landlords, some of whom live here, not that many. Now, I want to know, I read in the newspaper actually, in the Montclair Local, that you are due back in court with said landlords again in mid-November, I believe it is. And the reason being they once again got a sympathetic judge in Newark to side with them. And so they have got an extended time in order to get their signatures to overturn rent control. What can you tell me about what will occur in court in November? And before I stop talking, let me just say once again, thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you. And Mr. Karasik, would you care to give an update there, please? Thank you.
Sure. First of all, I'm not tired of fighting with them. It feels like the fight has just begun with them, but we are not sort of slacking off. However, you're correct. The landlords went right back to the same judge, and he was willing to extend the time they had to fix the referendum. In other words, they had 6 months or 5 additional months to collect signatures, failed to do so. And instead of getting only the statutory 10 days, the judge gave them, I think it was like 23 or 24 days. So that is true. And we have a date in court. Frankly, I expect the judge to actually if you want to know what I think that the judge will give them whatever they want, frankly, despite whatever we argue, because that seems to be the pattern here. So I wouldn't, I don't want to be too positive about the hearing. I am positive, hopefully, about the ultimate outcome. But as we said way back when, this is going to be, if this does go to election, it's going to require an effort. And at this point, they haven't met the criteria to put it on the ballot. We will fight that, by the way, once this issue gets resolved in mid-November. In other words, I will fight the fact that this was extended, which to our view was a wrong reading of the law. But I can't tell you how that will come out. I can only tell you that we're not going to let go of it, and we're going to keep fighting to uphold the council, which is the council voted for this ordinance, and I'm sure is waiting for it to go into effect. So that's where we're at right now. I'm sorry I can't be more specific.
Thank you, Mr. Karasik. Mr. Stafford.
Yes, sir. Caller with the number starting 201-921. It is your turn to comment. 201-921. Please state your name for the record and do your best to keep your comments under 3 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. This is Ahava Felicidad. I am a Montclair native and the president of the tenants organization of Montclair Advocacy Group. I hope that you are all doing well this evening. I'm calling in, of course, so that our presence is here, because we do want to make sure that we are supporting you in your efforts to support the Montclair community, which is not just the tenants, the renters. It's everyone who's affected by the issues with the skyrocketing rents, even before the pandemic, because this started way before the pandemic. Again, for anyone who may be listening for the first time, this goes back well over 30 years. And I just want to say more so to the public that with the calls that we've gotten in, I want to make sure everyone knows that it may seem more challenging to fight. We know the rents in many places here are just out of control. They need to be stabilized. I've moved over 12 times in my own lifetime, so I know what that's like. Packing up to move is not always fun, especially disheartening when you feel like you've been forced out due to a rent increase. That part of it is extremely challenging, very hard for someone to know, well, I couldn't afford this additional $400 a month, which is unconscionable. based on the amount of your rent. So if your rent is $1,600 and it goes up by $400, that's unconscionable. It's more than 5% or 6%. Just as an example, for people that I know who actually were forced out of town, and those who are here and still trying to stay, again, acknowledging the fact that we're now in a pandemic and a lot of rules are changed and bills are being placed into laws with regards to that. Now, if our rent is stabilized, so many more people really won't have to worry about that. They're just worrying about the recovery from the pandemic, which is going to take most people a year, something maybe two, to straighten things out from that, while we watch everything that's continuing to happen with people needing to take better care of their health and being stressed with regards to their housing. I would hope that anyone listening would be open to reach out to us and also to the landlord-tenant committee to try to resolve some of your housing issues. We can prove to you that you have rights. So many people are feeling like, well, I don't really have any rights, or these are rights, and then they say this is a right, and then they take this right away, or they implement something, and that's, swept to the side, or a lawsuit goes down into the courts in Newark, and okay. I just want to say Montclair is a great place to live. Tenants organization, montclair@gmail.com. You have.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, there are no more callers in the queue.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stafford. And I know certainly many of us, we appreciate the efforts of both callers and their advocacy over a number of years, and certainly appreciate the support in making sure we do have, again, an affordable township here with rent control, which we've moved forward with. So thank you. With that, I will move on and close public comment. Next, we have a couple new business items. The first is Resolution R20-173. This is a resolution approving the submission of the best practices checklist inventory to the Director of the Division of Local Government Services, and I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and Mr. Stafford, I'll let you highlight any key pieces, but I do want to just note, kudos to you and your team for always putting this together. As we know, it's a state requirement, goes through a bunch of different pieces that help support our funding that we receive. I do want to just highlight one piece, Mr. Stafford, and ask you a question about it. I know there's a cybersecurity piece on there. We're seeing a lot of this now with townships, hospitals, other pieces. While it does, address it obviously in the questions, where are we in terms of comfortable? Certainly, Mr. Fan, I know, who's also on this. Actually, how comfortable are we with the cybersecurity aspects here in town?
First, I would be remiss, Mayor, if I didn't specifically stress that the heavy lifting with regard to the best practices inventory on behalf of the township is done by Chief Financial Officer Padmaja Rao. She works very hard all year long to ensure that the township's finances are not only compliant, but more so than compliant, as shown by the recent reissuing of the AAA bond rating, which is unheard of to get initially, but to have it issued when we had the recent review by the rating agency during the incredible circumstances in the pandemic is a Herculean task. That said, to your point directly, the township has taken great pains over the last several years to ensure that it is as secure from a cyber standpoint as possible. Mr. Fan works very hard, feverishly, frankly, with the Garden State Municipal Joint Insurance Fund, as well as internally here with his staff and consultants and professionals, whether it be in the form of arranging for sufficient redundancy off-site for servers, to arranging for storage in the cloud, and many other implementations that, candidly, I think discretion preclude me from talking about even at a public meeting. But the topic has been discussed previously at the Public Safety Committee level, and I'm sure Mr. Fan would be happy to answer any governing body members' questions individually. So I urge you, if you do have questions, to either relay them to me and I will forward them to him, or if you see him, speak with him directly.
Great, thank you for that. And certainly we see the constant updates on our end on a lot of pieces. So Mr. Fan, thank you for that. And Mr. Stafford, I noted, are there any pieces you want to highlight specifically? And then I'll open it up to any questions or comments from my colleagues.
Not particularly, other than to say this year there were 60 questions, some of which had subparts. And the township scored a 92%, which is fabulous. And for all intents and purposes, the township will receive 100% of the aid, the state aid that it's entitled to, which we're thankful for, but candidly, it's our money, so why shouldn't we get it? And I'm happy that our financial practices are, even, as I said, more than compliant with respect to the DLGS and their analysis worksheet.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Questions, concerns, comments? All right, seeing none, hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councillor Cummings,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hurlock,
Yes.
Councillor Price Abrams,
Yes.
Councillor Russo,
I just want to say this is one of the highest scores I've ever seen over the years, manager. So it's a great job. 92% A. Yes.
Councillor Schlager,
Yes.
Councillor Yacobelis,
Yes.
Mayor Spiller.
Yes. Thank you. Next, we have a resolution R 20-174. This is a resolution authorizing transfer of funds in accordance with the provisions of N.J.S.A 40A:4-58, and I so move.
Second.
Questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councillor Cummings,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Hurlock,
Yes.
Councillor Price Abrams,
Yes.
Councillor Russo,
Yes.
Councillor Schlager,
Yes.
Councillor Yacobelis,
Yes.
Mayor Spiller. Yes. Next, we have our discussion items. So, Mr. Stafford, I'll turn it over to you for an update, a review of each of the items. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item number 1, on September 2 of 2020, the township received and opened 10 bids relative to the Trinity Place and Myrtle Place roadway improvement project. And that, of course, is a 2019 N.J.S.A local aid project. The project includes the replacement of the curbing and miscellaneous sidewalk reconstruction, as well as milling and paving along both Trinity Place and Myrtle Place. The 10 bids were analyzed, and based upon that analysis, recommendation is made to, and this resolution would, award a contract to the lowest responsive bidder, Honorati Construction of Boonton, New Jersey, in the amount of $222,249.57.
Well, I certainly will be happy to see this one happen, Mr. Stafford and Councilwoman Price Abrams, I'm sure, as well. But I can tell you I've been hearing about some of the spots for quite some time. But thank you. Good to hear an example of how we maximize our ability to pave as many streets as possible. So thank you.
Certainly. Item number 2, on November 27 of 2018, after an appropriate bid process, the township awarded a contract for snow plowing services to Schauger Property Services Incorporated for the 2018 and 2019 winter season. This contract was for a 1-year term with a township option to renew for 2 additional 1-year terms. Based upon the township's working relationship with the vendor and based upon the effective and efficient provision of services by the vendor, recommendation is made to, and this resolution would authorize exercising the second 1-year option with Schauger Property Services to provide snow and ice removal services in accordance with the original bid specifications in an amount not to exceed $800,000 for the 2020-21 winter season. Item number 3, On October 15 of 2020, the township received and opened 2 bids relative to the ADA upgrade to Montclair Fire Department headquarters improvement project. This is a community development block grant funded project. The project includes the installation of electronic openers to allow and ensure access to the public on Montclair Fire Department headquarters doors leading to the lobby, the training room, and bathrooms, given that these areas are often accessed by the public. That will be happening tomorrow, as the county has requested the use of the fire department headquarters and training room as usual for a modified polling place. The 2 bids were analyzed, and based upon the analysis, recommendation is made to, and this resolution would award a contract to the lowest responsive bidder, Billy Contracting and Restoration of Paterson, New Jersey, in the amount of $28,000. Item number 4, on November 18 of 2019, the township awarded a contract to Clary Anderson Arena LLC for vending machine services at various township-owned facilities and locations for a 1-year period with a township option to renew at the same current terms for a 24-month period. Based upon the township's working relationship with the vendor and based upon the effective and efficient provision of services by the vendor, recommendation is made to, and this resolution would authorize exercising the 2-year option with the vendor at the same current terms. No budgetary impact on the township would result from this contract.
And Mr. Stafford, if you could just see as part of it, if they could upgrade some of the vending machines and all the pieces that they service them. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I've relayed your request to the qualified purchasing agent, who I understand reached out today. And as soon as I know back, I will let you know.
Thank you.
Regarding item number 5, on October 29 of 2019, the township awarded a contract to Extra Duty Solutions for the complete administration of the township's off-duty police details for a 1-year period with a township option at the same current terms for a 24-month period. Again, based upon the township's working relationship with the vendor and based upon the effective and efficient provision of services by the vendor, recommendation is made to, and this resolution would authorize exercising the 2-year option with Extra Duty Solutions at the same current terms. As with the previous resolution, there would be no budgetary impact on the township resulting from this contract.
Yeah, I see Councilwoman Price Abrams with a question. Councilwoman?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. Mr. Manager, so I just wasn't clear if this is the administration of off-duty officers or if it is the provision of off-duty policing services. Is it different or the same thing?
No, it's absolutely not. It's the former, not the latter. When I first arrived 6 years ago, like in many municipalities, several municipal police officers, instead of having boots on the ground, were working to schedule off-duty details. The vendor came into being before there was no such vendor in the state of New Jersey. The leadership team of the police department and I, as well as the finance team and Mr. Krasik, worked to analyze the provision of services by the vendor. They were being used by at least one of our neighbor municipalities, as well as another municipality down the shore. We worked hard to ascertain that their provision of services was acceptable, and we let a contract. We've since renewed that contract several times. And as you can appreciate, I'm sure, instead of those officers being in an office working to schedule off-duty details, now that is handled at the expense of the requester by this administrative company. And those officers are in the field doing officer work as opposed to necessary but office administrative work. So it serves all purpose, and it's of no cost to the township whatsoever.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Certainly.
Councilman Russo, was that you trying to also ask a question?
No, I was asking, what is the cost, Manager? You said there's no cost. They must charge us a fee.
They don't charge the township a fee. They charge a percentage to the requester for the off-duty services.
Oh, good. That's very creative. Okay, good. That answers my question. That's very good. Thank you. It was a good move you made a while back. Thank you.
Again, I don't want to take full credit. The police department worked very hard on that. Chief Conforti, Deputy Chief Rosano, Chief Young, Deputy Chief Young, as well as Lieutenant N.J.S.A, worked very hard on performing the review, and it's worked out for all concerned.
Thank you.
Okay. Proceed, Mr.
Item number six. Item number six is the typical developer escrow account resolution that you see periodically. As you know, applicants for development projects are required to deposit funds in escrow. The projects listed on Schedule A of item number 6 have been determined to be substantially complete. They've been denied or they've been withdrawn, and all relevant fees have been satisfied. And as such, there appears to be no further basis to retain the escrow deposits listed. The resolution that you see would authorize their release and would direct our Chief Financial Officer to issue checks for same to the applicable developers. Item number 7 is a resolution that would authorize the purchase of, from Lawman Supply Company of N.J.S.A, New Jersey, through the New Jersey State Cooperative Purchasing Program, 12 new bulletproof vests, and the total amount of the purchase is $49,736.40. Item 8 is a resolution that would retroactively authorize and ratify a contract with Sefeli & Son General Contracting of Nutley, New Jersey, for the emergency roadway repair of Watchung Avenue between Upper Mountain Avenue and North Mountain Avenue that was performed on September 23rd through September 25th, resulting from the very large water main break that was suffered on the overnight of September 20th. For various reasons, the roadway work could not be done by our township in-house personnel, and given the severe damage to the road, given that Watchung Avenue is a main thoroughfare, and given that it's a county road, immediate repairs were required. Resultantly, the Department of Utilities declared an emergency and engaged in the subject contract to ensure the required immediate repairs, and of course, this is consistent with state law. The total cost of the emergency expenditure is $61,334, and the resolution would again retroactively authorize the emergency contract and ratify same. Item 9 is similar. It is a resolution that would retroactively authorize and ratify a contract with CRJ Contracting of Somerville, New Jersey, for the emergency water main break repair on South Park Street between Church Street and the Crescent that was performed on September 15 through September 24. For various reasons, this work could not be done by our in-house personnel, and given that the area had experienced multiple breaks in the existing water main within the past year, given that a catastrophic failure of that main could have put the entire water system in jeopardy, as the flow of water may have taken out 2 pressure zones, including Grove Street West to the border of the township with Cedar Grove and Verona. Given that a large failure could have put a substantial number of our customers without water and the entire area without fire protection, and given that an area including Montclair State University was in jeopardy, as it is in the high pressure zone that would empty attempting to feed into the middle zone in which the 12-inch pipe is, immediate repairs were required. Again, resultantly, the Department of Utilities declared an emergency and engaged in the subject contract to ensure the necessary immediate repairs. The total cost of the emergency expenditure is $123,150.84. And of course, this again also is consistent with state law. Item 10 is a resolution that would authorize the execution of a professional services agreement with licensed site remediation professional Viridian Incorporated of Montclair for it to continue to serve as such in connection with the environmental remediation work at 54 Watchung Avenue and on Burnside Street. State law requires that parties engaged in remediation site work retain a licensed site remediation professional. Viridian is qualified by the state of New Jersey to perform such professional services and has been doing so in regard to the township for several years. based upon the township's working relationship with the vendor and based upon the effective and efficient provision of services by the vendor, recommendation is made to, and this resolution would authorize the execution of a professional services agreement with Veridian in an amount not to exceed $25,000. Lastly, for me, item 11 is a resolution that would authorize a change order to increase the initial encumbrance amount in resolution R19-023 with Core and Main LP for the purchase and delivery of waterworks from materials. Those of you that were on the governing body in 2019 will remember that by that resolution, we awarded a contract to the vendor for the purchase and delivery of 8-inch and 12-inch Class 56 ductile iron pipe for the period of 2 years. As you know, the township installs, on average, 1 mile of water main pipe per year, and this contract set as firm the price that the township pays for the pipe. This has proved advantageous as since the start of the contract term, the price of Class 56 ductile iron pipe has indeed increased. The township, though, is not paying the increased price. We're paying the price set as firm by the contract. The increase in the initial encumbrance amount will cover Class 56 ductile iron pipe to be ordered for various township projects regarding same. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Now I'm going to just open up the comments. Councilman Russo, do you mind muting yours? I think I'm hearing a lot of your papers when you're doing that. Thank you, sir. Mr. Stafford, I'll go to you first. Any comments?
I have no comments this evening, Mayor, but thank you.
Okay. Madam Clerk, I'm sure not much on your plate, but anything you'd like to comment on before we close out tonight?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. This past Friday, the County of Essex reported that they had received over 19,000 ballots from the Township of Montclair. Tomorrow's Election Day. Polling places will be open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have 7 polling places in town, each equipped with one ADA accessible voting device to be used by voters who have a vision and/or hearing impairment. Any other voter who shows up to a polling place will only be able to vote by paper provisional ballot. All voters can drop their mail-in ballot at the county drop box located at the front of 205 Claremont Avenue or at their designated polling place. And of course, tomorrow, anyone can call this office, 973-509-4900, and we'll be happy to assist you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So just for emphasis, everyone there, if you come into any of the locations looking to vote, it's a paper provisional ballot. Or if you bring your ballot, which was sent to you, you can drop it in the drop box that's located at Town Hall, or you could drop it at the polling locations. So make sure people are there. That's thank you, Madam Clerk. Appreciate all your efforts during this busy time. Mr. Scalabary.
Quickly, Mayor, on Saturday, I attended an event in which you were there that was co-sponsored by Councilor Cummings and the Young Black Fathers, and I'll let Councilor Cummings expand on that a bit, but I must say that I was encouraged with the dialogue. It reminded me of the dialogue that took place in the Park House in the late 60s when I was a Mount Hebron student. So I'm looking forward to the work that they're going to be doing, and I'm also looking forward to being a resource if and when needed. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Mr. Karasik.
I have nothing, Mayor.
All right. Thank you, sir. Let's go in that reverse order then. Mr. Cummings, why don't we start with you?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as Mr. Scantlebury said, Saturday's event was great. We had Brendan Gill, Superintendent Pons, Deputy Manager Scantlebury, as well as the school personnel director, Damon Cooper. And I think the kids really, well, young men, really took to you guys. I know they followed up and said they look forward to some continued dialogue. And one of the things they also did, they actually, besides having the good food and fun, they took donations for the family that was displaced from their home due to the fire a couple of weeks ago. And they're going to be presenting her with a check this Saturday from the proceeds. And it was a pretty significant amount that they raised, and really look forward to continuing working with them. And thanks again for showing up and actually participating besides this. It was a great time.
It really was. Thank you, Mr. Cummings. Next, let's go to third. So Councilwoman Price Abrams.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of thoughts about what has been going on of late. I did see coverage, and I know that the advocates of the Senior Citizen Advisory Council and others are talking about the accessory dwelling unit, the ADU provisions that they want to discuss how they may proceed with. I look forward to being engaged in further discussions with them to see if there's a pathway forward. I know they were meeting with the planner. Have yet to get too deep in the weeds with them, but I think there's something there that may be beneficial to the town and to the affordability in the town. And then just also to mention that later this month, the New Jersey League of Municipalities would be having its regularly scheduled annual set of meetings and conferences. I'm disappointed not to be going in person, but I do look forward to participating in some of the opportunities for, deeper education on matters that are important to our town and that I hope to be better educated about in my role as a counselor. And, expect to be seeing some of you on Zoom, perhaps, is the way it's going to go in one more fashion. But there is a whole conference ahead, and I look forward to participating and bringing back some fresh ideas for our.
You just muted yourself, Councilwoman, if you were just finishing that.
Must have been that talking with my hands thing. Tomorrow's election day, as has been discussed, and while we have a wonderfully high rate of participation here, I hope everybody is using all their energies to just ensure that there is wonderful participation in among all of your networks. So anyway, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And the registration for the league is open now, and you can start to see all the sessions. I was looking through today, and a lot of offerings. So thank you for reminding and noting that. Moving to Councilwoman Schlager.
I'm all good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Moving to Deputy Mayor Herlock. Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Given the lateness of the hour, I will yield the balance of my time to one question, if I may, to Madam Clerk. Can you just tell us what the 7, not that I'm quizzing you or anything, but I think it may be helpful for everybody because of COVID and all the stuff going on. What are the 7 locations? Are they the usual locations, or have we alternative locations? If Madam Clerk, you just let us know what those 7 are. I think it'd be a great help to everybody.
Absolutely. Can you hear me? Okay. There are 2 polling places in each ward, and they are Ward 1, Buzz Aldrin School and Northeast School. Ward 2, Edgemont School and Northeast School. Ward 3, Municipal Building here at 205 Claremont Avenue and Hillside School. Ward 4, the Fire Headquarters, 1 Pine Street, and Nicholas School. The other 10 polling sites that would have been used, that are not being used, signage has been posted with my phone number and the actual polling sites, the 7 that I just read to you. So that way, in case someone shows up to their regular site, they'll have a number to call and they'll see, oh, okay, these are the 7 that are actually open. Okay?
Great, thank you. You're way ahead of us. I appreciate that. And Madam Clerk, just real quick, the hours are again, just so everyone knows.
6 a.m. to 8 p.m. At
Great.
8 p.m., all the polling sites are going to close, and this drop box will also be locked. So no one will be able to cast a ballot after 8 p.m. Okay?
Thank you. That was very helpful. I appreciate all your efforts on this front. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I had.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor and Madam Clerk. Next, let's go to Councilman Yacobelis.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a quick joke for the Madam Clerk. I think we can use you on CNN tomorrow night. That was some really just perfect, just bam, 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 bam. Love it. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Councilman. Councilman Russo.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if we're having a commemoration of Veterans Day, or is it going to be virtual on the 11th, I believe? Am I correct about the date, Manager, the 11th?
It is November 11th at 11 o'clock in the morning. However, like we've done for Memorial Day, like we did for Independence Day, we will do a virtual remembrance ceremony broadcast on TV 34. Mr. Gerhardt is going to work with Ms. Camerata to edit together, like he's done for those two previous holidays, previous years' remembrance ceremonies. So I invite all to view that on our TV 34. Unfortunately, the circumstances caused by the pandemic do not allow us to have an in-person ceremony.
I understand. Just wanted to say that I enjoyed the NAACP's Thurgood Marshall dinner, which was also virtual last Friday night. I know others were there too from the council. But it was a great presentation by some young people and singers, and the music, the discussion and the awards. And my good friends who own the Montclair Diner was there today eating again and talking to Elliot, who got that award for community service. We're going to keep our local businesses going, especially minority-owned businesses. So let's do that, pull together that way. And just wish everyone good luck for the next few days. I think we're going to meet, let me get this clear too again, Manager. We're going to meet on a Monday again, the 16th, because it would have been the League of Municipalities the next few days. So I think we have another meeting in 2 weeks, but on a Monday night again. Am I right?
That's correct. Absolutely correct. You're right, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Sir, appreciate that, Councilman. Certainly, we'll just reiterate what others have noted. It's been great to be on a number of these Zoom events. You noted the NAACP event that I was on and others. And, it's just great to see we're all getting more comfortable with these virtual meetings, making sure they're engaging, entertaining, and certainly still get to honor and recognize the wonderful people that they're designed to. So kudos to all working on all of these things and everybody for getting to understand a little better. Certainly, I also want to note that despite the focus on elections, and everybody should be absolutely laser focused on elections right now, I think we've gone over that a few times here to just emphasize how people can still make sure their votes are put forward and the clerk receives them. But I just want to say, even in the context of that, as Councilman Cummings noted, it really was just a great event with the young Black fathers and coming together and having that conversation. But I thought it was really indicative of there was a food giveaway a little bit earlier in the day at the location. I know in conversations, Tony's Kitchen is still ramping up and getting ready for holidays and doing logistics. We're hearing the donation that was collected for others in need, even at that event. And I think it's really indicative of the Montclair we all know and really love, and that, doing a lot of different things here, but always with an eye on helping others and making sure we help those in need, especially as the holidays are coming up. So I just want to say thank you to all my colleagues for being out there doing all these different things and doing it safely. Appreciate that. Certainly kudos, as always, Mr. Stafford, to the work you're doing. But tonight, definitely the big kudos to you, Madam Clerk, for all the work that you're doing and is ahead of you. We appreciate that. It's one of the most important things here that we have in our democracy here. So thanks for all that work. And thank you to all of you at home who have voted, who are voting, who have been on all these get out the vote pieces, and whether they be virtual or modified in person, it does all matter. We're all laser focused on what happens here. It's important, yes, at the national, but all up and down ballots, as we know. But thank you for participating, no matter what your views are. It's important that you share them. So thank you so much. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you very much, everybody. Looking forward to Election Day. Have a good night.
Good time.
Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Bye.
You all.
Night.